really strong. You can understand Renekton getting in there and messing up the Jarvan, that part, and most melee laners makes a lot of sense, and it will be the Renekton, so...
Walking it away.
Always a bit risky to take the pick into the person who innovated it, and will we see the Zed? We do!
Oh, we do! Zed locked away for BDD. This is exactly what you wanted, Papa Smitty.
What did we
like
say, baby?
Birthday.
We said Elise. Let's see some AD laners. Zed is certainly one of those.
And talk about early lane oppression as well. I mean, both of these champions incredible in the laning phase. Longzhu setting themselves up quite nicely here, but BBQ, if they can last, things might be okay. And Tempt looking at a tried and true favorite here on the Cassiopeia, and he is going to lock that one away.
It may be comfort, but this is certainly no easy matchup outside of the early levels for the Cassiopeia. Itemization can be a little bit interesting as well. Tier into the tier into the Zonias is probably going to have to be the way, but you can't necessarily go for Rod of Ages like we saw Faker building back at MSI. The laning phase is certainly pain for any melee champion, and Zed falls there as well. He's also, the miasma stops him from being able to use his W, but blind pick Zed. We knew there was swagger about Longzhu. So many young players, and these 17-year-olds, they're going to keep fighting fire with fire.
And BDD way up the top of solo queue at the moment, probably on a bit of a high at the moment, Papa Smithy. So more than happy to throw the gauntlet down. And I'm super excited to see how this one's going to go. Even this top side of the map, which is normally a boring place to be watching, it's going to be hype.
Yeah, Crazy's had a lot of hype around him, but taking the Jarvan into the person who's shown it, you'd expect there to be answers coming through from Khan, and that's why he's gone for the Renekton. BDD blind picking Zed is the sort of thing I've wanted to see for over a year now. And Prey, rank 1 in solo queue, taking on Ghost on Comfort. He was playing Caitlyn out of meta, now very much in the middle of the meta. This is hype, and again, that's the great thing about jumping to summer season. A matchup that will be going, not really considered, is now a very interesting one as Longzhu could exit week 1 2-0.
Yeah, and I absolutely love how Longzhu have actually decided to play out this draft as well. You've got tried and true comp on the bottom side of the map, Varus and Zyra, and then you've got the crazy picks on the top side. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to waste no more time. Let's get into game number 1. Let's hit the riff. That on from the KT series as well. You mentioned that certainly outlaning Deft and Mata
pretty handedly, and that was kind of a turnaround because in summer season it was Deft and Mata getting the better of those exchanges. In spring season, my apologies.
Yes.
So it was a change in fortune for the Longzhu bot lane.
West once again looking for BDD. We've got an ultimate going down on the bottom side of the map. That's going to be first blood picked up by Gorilla. Pretty textbook stuff with the Cocoon landing and everything else being history.
Yeah, the first CC opening, whether it's the Chains of Corruption or the Zyra route, means the next ones will hit. Really nice stuff from Longzhu. Didn't have Cuz overstay. They'll give up a blue buff, but they'll certainly accept it if they can get first brick for it. And when you have Elise being able to go into Spider Form W and get the frenzied auto attacks, it's going to be a very quick turret.
Yeah. Able to take that one down. Red buff helping out there as well, so that is going to be first brick at the same time. First blood, first brick, 2,000k gold in the lead. Let's have a look at this. The sweet fancy angle as well.
Prey is always uniquely good at line skill shots on AD carries. I would venture a guess and proclaim it right now. He's probably the best at those initiation abilities of any AD carry in history. He is clutch in big games or even in regular season games like this, and he opened up, and from there, it's pretty textbook stuff for Longzhu game.
I do really love the fact that Cuz knew he needed to flash to get that Cocoon, though, in order to layer that on top before the Lantern was possible to be taken.
Yeah, it's respecting the Dark Passage, which we've always seen be so great for
evacuations.
evacuations.
It was sitting there on top of everyone trying to gather it towards the top side of the map. Longzhu were able to get rid of some of the control wards, but BBQ able to get some vision down regardless.
I thought we built up BDD Zed, which we still will hopefully see some cool things from, and so far it's been just farming phase for him.
Yeah, sort of everywhere. So we've got a super high damage build coming out from Cuz here as well, going for the Leandri's Torment and those Sorcerer's Shoes as well. Not wanting to go for those mobility boots to get himself around the map faster, instead he wants to be able to kill things more easily, but so far he's only helped do that once this game, and we're at 24 minutes in.
I think the theory behind the build, because of course we see tank Elise and this more pick-orientated Elise pretty interchangeably, is we already said they can't team fight. Why buy team fighting tank options
Yeah, well, that's true.
Getting a pick and then split push and getting a pick and then objective. Speaking of picks,
boom!
Jesus!
That's why he picked up those items. I mean, there was help there by Gorilla, but I think that was a couple of plant auto attacks, Papa Smithy, and otherwise, that was Elise in, go boom.
My Elise does not do as much damage as Cuz's Elise. That's why he's rank 3, Atlas.
Oh, yeah. In fact, the higher you go in Challenger solo queue, the higher the damage that you do just in general. It's one of those
I need to get
passives.
in there and copy his rune page for Elise. That's what I've learned.
His rune page is billions of damage. I'm pretty sure.
And I imagine Blesses doesn't have much magic resist is what I'm taking away from that.
Totoro's gonna die. There it is, everything's gonna land. It's all too easy. BDD says, well, I'll just grab the kill credit for that one. Because I feel like it, but that's just the amount of CC that they have. The Baron was an option. Totoro had to ward it.
But they've built for this. They've got a lead that made BBQ face check. What is the next piece of the puzzle? Because it hasn't been a Baron start, even though they have really good Baron damage.
And vision. Look at how many wards they have around here.
So that's why we look at the picks, right? Those were cool, deleted, etc. After that, nothing has really happened. BD pushed in a minion wave. Renekton recalled. The value of those picks when it comes to objectives, because of course League of Legends since what, Season 2 has been turn a pick into an objective.
Yeah.
Picks by themselves, especially against an outscale comp, are not enough. I'm waiting for the next part, so I feel like Longzhu could have done something coordinated. I feel like they didn't really do anything. They didn't get deep vision, they didn't take objectives. They're going to get a free Drake, but they would have got a free Drake whether they got 2 picks or not with how much map pressure they've had. Waiting for Longzhu to get to that next strategic level, because again, late game team fighting is not the bastion here for Longzhu to get back into the game.
The confusing battle around the dragon is Bless. May not actually be able to take. He's not going to. The Baron could kill him. No. Something that, as an AD carry, I've personally always wanted to be able to have. You know, those times where you twitch and you feel like everyone's just throwing every ability that they have at you, and if you could just use your Zhonya's, you'd feel good.
Crazy's coming in here, remember, Crazy.
Yeah, gonna get the double knock up here as well. Gorilla immediately gonna get destroyed. Prey takes a lot of damage. Crazy gets stunned right at the end though, and in comes Khan. Prey's gonna pick it up with the piercing arrow, and Cuz, with all of this damage, is getting rid of the Jarvan. BDD throws down the death mark, Ghost in trouble. He should actually fall from this one as BDD pops him, and look at Longzhu, they're tearing them up. It's a double kill for BDD, and Crazy is dead as well. This will be Baron in exchange for the bottom lane.
The kiting back there from Longzhu was so good. We talked about BBQ's teamfight comp, but the terrain they were fighting around forced them to lose auto attacks and spells chasing the members of Longzhu. And it was a chase because Longzhu was playing a game of cat and mouse. They wanted to open up space to allow BDD to finally be able to combine his threats with the team. You see the replay, and Prey is very overextended. Clearly he is. Goes down low, flashes out. Zyra's dead, but she's already used her spells. And from here, it's about buying time for BDD. Prey's not even really in this fight. They're fighting on different quadrants, but they waste enough time with Renekton just looking strong for BDD to jump in. He's going to get that nice load of AD from killing the Caitlyn. And they buy enough time that never did we get the value of Cassiopeia and Caitlyn auto-attacking and twin-fanging down the same champion. Those are the sort of fights where BBQ can win. But for them to get those fights, they need to be fighting around much smaller objectives.
Well, another Deathmark's going to come in here as Ghost. Oh, he doesn't get hit by any of the shurikens, and that's going to spell safety for the Caitlyn.
NAZ. If he had any ability, she would have died.
Yes.
Q went wide. Not to be that time.
He doesn't have his Duck's Blade yet. As soon as he gets that, I mean, all he needs to do is just one empowered auto attack as well as the Deathmark.
Kind of the weird thing to read here, though, is that it actually took BBQ initiating for Longzhu to get a big advantage in this game. We talk so much about what will they do with their advantage, their pressure advantage, etc. And it really took a misplay, or at least a botched play from BBQ to get Longzhu what now feels like the sort of lead they've craved for the last 5 to 6 minutes. No one's going to be sent into lane very reliably against BDD. And they lose all 3 outer turrets in an instant.
Absolute instant. A little too easy for Khan as well there on the bottom side. His Spirit Visage completed as well as his Warden's Mail, that newly buffed anti-crit of the Randuin's Omen. Whether it is going to work out or whether he's even going to be able to build it here. This game is looking like it's circling the drain for BBQ.
Yeah, there's no incentive for Longzhu to look for a team fight again. They're going to stay 1-3-1. Renekton pushing in one lane. Zed pushing in the other with Baron buff on both of them. Something has to give. There's not enough wave clear on the BBQ side to survive in all 3 lanes. The chunks are real, and there the base is broken.
Yeah, Crazy's just going to blow up another one. That Banshee's fell. You know, if this was an earlier patch, it would have been like, oh, he went for a defensive option. Nope, he most certainly did not. Because I believe actually last time he played around, he had went for the Dead Man's Plate build with the Abyssal Scepter there as well. So now newly a tank item. Works actually very, very well on Elise if you're going that tanky route.
And it's cool that he's flexible.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Because you noted the fact that, hey, he's building a lot of damage. They played around him having pick pressure, and he also built to fit a situation where true 5v5 run at BBQ was never in the playbook for Longzhu. So having the understanding of the game to tailor your build to the situation isn't something you can always take for granted, because we don't always see it, even at the highest level.
Well, Chance of Corruption are going to land. Zhonya's is going to be used right as the Lantern flies out. Hanging around down.
Not a lot of cooldown on that ultimate when he has 40% CDR.
Yeah, Gorilla's got himself Banshee's Veil as well, Pop Smithy. The Watcher completed, so that's a lot of damage coming out of the Zyra. In fact, you see this as a sort of triple AD composition. Oh, they're not going to have much magic damage. Turns out they've actually got a hell of a lot of magic damage.
At least Zyra is at least 1.5 AP carries.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do well in lane, you know, with how early the Andres was there, the base values are huge.
Chance of Corruption are going to land. That's a lot of damage. Good hook to stop BDD, but it's not going to. He just gets destroyed. Toltero in trouble as well as Khan makes his way in. He picks up a kill for his trouble. And Petrifying Gaze is only on the Renekton, who just seems unkillable right now. Spirit Visage keeping him alive for a very long time is Tempt. He's in trouble. BDD needs to actually find an ace here if he wants to get to his 6-0-5 scoreline, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's still undefined as he's unkilled throughout the summer split so far, and Longzhu Gaming continue their onslaught.
As you say, BDD has not died in 3 games. Longzhu have not dropped a game either. Largely a great performance from Longzhu. The builds made sense. The first pick, Elise, was profited on. It wasn't just Elise is a strong jungler. It really did open up some physical damage lanes with both Zyra and Elise put together. They played to their draft. They looked solid doing it. And Longzhu Gaming, the fans are going to continue to smile. The converts are going to start coming through, because Longzhu Gaming, more and more, are looking like a complete package.
Yeah, this is the team that we wanted to see back up their performance against KT, because like you said, when expectations are on them, it can get difficult. However, hasn't looked like it so far. However, it's only game number 1, and you know that things can change.
And honestly, what you have to hope for is the off-the-field issues for Longzhu are finally over. There's been so many splits now where it's turned out something went awry, left or right, and things fell apart. This may still happen in the summer season, but I, for one, are hoping we get a full split of them focusing on the game, really bringing their next level play, because they looked really, really accomplished in this series, and I want them to build on it consistently over time.
Yeah, and it's accomplished not necessarily in the ways that you'd expect from these younger players on the top side of the map, where, you know, their laning phase is very strong, they're making the flashy plays. No, it was about knowing